So if desire is the driver of the sphere of attraction, that means it must always be correct. Your desires are a manifestation from God. And you might be asking to yourself, how is that possible? How, if I am in a committed relationship and I have a desire for another woman, how is that serving God? The law of attraction. Manifesting, what the Gene Keys calls the sphere of attraction. As we come into the new year, it's January 3rd. I know a lot of people are setting visions and thinking about what they're trying to call in this year. And I thought it was an apt time to talk through this because the law of attraction is something that is touted in the new age as this magical, mystical, magnetic force, which it is. This ability to call in things that we desire, which it is. However, it's calling in what our true self desires, what our higher self needs in order to grow. And so a lot of the time we're only getting 50% of the story. And what I want to do today is try and explain the inner workings of this, the mechanics of it as I understand it according to the sphere of attraction in the Gene Keys. That way you can interact with this law of the universe in a way that does truly manifest what you desire so deeply that you might not even know it yet. So this force draws in people and relationships and events according to our dharma and our karma. And our dharma is basically our soul contract with this incarnation on the planet. It is our soul's purpose. It is our path, our lesson that we're meant to learn. Our karma is the fuel for that transformation. Our karma is the events and the people that come into our lives that are served to us so that we can respond in some way. And the goal over the period of our lifetime is to respond closer and closer to our highest self. The driving force behind our dharma and karma, how it shows up inside of us, is through desire. So when people talk about the law of attraction and they talk about the ability to manifest your desires, that is partly true. But what they don't tell you is when you start working towards that desire, 9 times out of 10, you'll realize that that's not actually the thing that you need. The desire is just what kicks off the process. It's not necessarily the end game goal. And desire is a doorway to our astral plane. It takes things from up here, this thinking about producing something, to feeling it in our heart and in our belly. And that feeling is such a strong driver and motivator. And that's why the sphere of attraction relates to our sexuality and our creativity and our fortune. Because when you think about your sexuality, it's such a clear and easy thing to understand that there is this just deep force that's driving us to do something, to want something. And that same force dictates everything else in our life because it is how God helps us to walk our dharma and our karma. This sphere of attraction is calculated by the moon 88 degrees before you were born. So this is a position that comes from the womb and a position that comes from the moon. As the moon changes its phases, so too your desires will change. They will adjust. They are not always present. They're not a rock that we can lean on. And because of that, we need to understand that the stuff we draw to us isn't always designed to be permanent. We don't often understand the reasons that we're pulling that stuff in. And often when it comes, we logically can't understand. We're seeing a full moon and we need a new moon in order to grasp what is actually happening. And that's why oftentimes the things that we call in might not seem in our heart to be what we desire, but in reality, it's a matter of time before you understand clearly why that thing came to you. So if desire is the driver of the sphere of attraction, that means it must always be correct. Your desires are a manifestation from God. And you might be asking to yourself, how is that possible? How, if I am in a committed relationship and I have a desire for another woman, how is that serving God? And I didn't say that you needed to act on that desire. So desire in the gene keys is the 30th shadow. The 29th shadow, which actually happens to be my key in the sphere of attraction, is the shadow of half-heartedness. And it's that half-heartedness that gets us in trouble, not the desire. If I was committed to that relationship, I don't have to act on that desire. What I can do is go to my partner and say, hey, this thing came up. But oftentimes we're terrified of what the response is going to be. And so we keep that to ourselves, and either we feel guilty for not enacting it, or we feel shame because we did the thing and we have this committed relationship that we're in. So the desire is true. The desire is something that's pointing us towards our growth or something that we need. What we need to be careful with is that we step into the 29th gift, which is the gift of commitment, or the 29th city, which is the city of devotion. Understanding that we've given ourselves over to something in a cycle of commitment, which typically lasts at least 7 years. And sometimes a desire cycle pops up within that cycle of commitment. And that is our dharma and karma testing us and trying to push us further along in the path by choosing differently maybe than what we've done in the past. The relationships and events that are brought to you offer the highest potential for transformation. Ultimately, it's up to you how you act, how you listen, what you do, and the universe is watching you as you do it. So I've got some bad news. As people are manifesting their dreams in 2024, as people are thinking about what they want, what their desires are in their lives. And the bad news is the attractor field isn't there to manifest your wishes externally. The attractor field is there to clean you internally. Then, once we are clean internally, the external reflects the internal. So all the things that you truly want, that you truly desire, that your highest self needs to fulfill its dharma, the thing that makes you feel this love, this care, this compassion for the world, all of that comes after you've cleaned inside. And the things that are called to you via the law of attraction are what are going to do that. So yes, the law of attraction, the gift, is going to get you all the things that you truly want externally in the world. But what is commonly thrown out there that you're just able to think about and emotionally put yourself in that place isn't necessarily going to bring that thing. Right? A component of that is emotionally putting yourself in that place. And they would have you believe, some folks in the New Age, that if you can just feel that momentarily, that it's going to appear in your life. But that's not true. You can't just be in a meditation and think, oh, this is how this is going to feel, and then it's there. That feeling needs to be persistent throughout your entire life. Then that thing that you truly desire will appear. But in all of this, remember, the desires that you have are true. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for wanting a mansion or a fast car or millions of dollars. Those desires are there to help you take the first step. And then as you're on the path, you'll see the next step. And your desires will likely change, or maybe not. But each step is going to take you closer and closer to feeling rich in here. And when that happens, it doesn't really matter what we call it.